In the history of the NBA, we've witnessed many great moments, the same highs that give you that adrenaline rush, the insane skills, the high jumps, and the dunks that leave you in awe. Just of all of that, unexplainable joy that announces the victory of one team over the other. Irrespective of all of these, it does not end there. No one mentions the weird moments. Those moments you cannot believe just happened. Maybe a wrong referee call, an erroneous rule interpretation, amongst others. We do not have to tell you that there are bans, and that is penalties for any offense committed while playing the game of Spalding on the court. But in today's video, we bring you a list of some of the most surprising and the weirdest bans we have ever experienced in NBA history. While it is rare to see individuals getting banned permanently in the league, some outrightly weird bans have been handed out, so we can't just have a laugh. We shall be making a comprehensive list of these bans, coupled with some of the strangest reasons they were given, and we will then allow you to conclude how weird they were. In all, we shall be looking at these instances and then give you the best info about some of the most bizarre bans we have ever seen in the NBA. So please sit back and relax, because we're about to take you on a jolly ride. Let's get started on this now, shall we? Number 7. Jack Molinas. If you do not know Jack Molinas, he was not just any player, he was simply extraordinary. He got drafted as the 3rd overall pick in the 1953 draft and averaged 11.6 points, 7.1 rebounds per game for the Fort Wayne Pistons in his lone season in the league. He also made the All-Star team in his rookie year, and this is undeniably some top-level achievement in the NBA. Unfortunately, Molinas was fingered in a gambling incident. Worse still, it was against his own team. After an investigation, the league had to ban Molinas. Aside from this, it also came to light that Molinas was central figure in the monstrous 1961 game-fixing scandals that led to the arrest of 37 players from 22 colleges. Now this is what you call weird. His game-fixing activities also negatively impacted the careers of notable players such as Connie Hawkins and Roger Brown, with the former eventually making it to the NBA. After all of these, it was not long before Molinas ended up being behind bars for 10 to 15 years due to game fixing and bribing players. After his release, Molinas continued engaging in all sorts of illegal activities. All of this would end up with him being murdered at the age of 43. He was shot in his backyard, and the police would not confirm if it was a mob crime. Given that there was a possible connection between the shooting and the murder of Molinas' business partner, Bernard Gusoff, Gusoff was found beaten to death, and Molinas ended up collecting his $500,000 life insurance payment. Weird. Number 6. Vince Carter. Sometimes, no matter how good a player is, he would not be spared for being ignorant of NBA regulations. Some years ago, the iPod was a new device that got everyone in their feelings. Like in every other place at the time, NBA fans and players were addicted to the iPod. Although it is archaic, there are sleeker devices and different music streaming apps, amongst others. But at the time, having an iPod was a huge deal. It was also easy to use, and all you had to do was plug your headphones into this portable stereo, and you could listen to any song of your choosing. This device was not bad for Carter for pre-game warm-ups. We don't blame him, yeah? But unluckily for Carter, fun, music, and style were seemingly elements the league had an intense hatred for. Although in recent times, we cannot be sure where it currently stands. To conclude, Carter and some other players who were found using iPods as the start of their training routine were banned, and the only reason was that they could not be allowed to enjoy their music while they trained. Weird, right? Number 5. John Drew. Aside from game fixing, another activity that could get you banned from the NBA is substance abuse. And with the damage illicit substances have done to the psyche of folks worldwide, this stance is understandable, right? One of the players that got the stick for this ban was John Drew. Drew was a talented player who made his presence felt in the league. He averaged 20.7 points, 6.9 rebounds, and 1.7 assists per game in 11 seasons. He had productive stints with the Atlanta Hawks and the Utah Jazz during his career, and Drew was also selected to participate in the All-Star game twice. That was an excellent spell for a talented player. But hear what happens next. Drew had to stop playing when he clocked 31, and this was all due to substance abuse. Drew was reportedly addicted to cocaine, and his addiction was said to have started during the 1977-1978 season. and for the two-time All-Star, it was something he could not let go of. So it was in January of 1986 when the NBA started to shape up. The league banned Drew after he was admitted to a hospital in Salt Lake City, given that by this time it was the third incident of him being admitted due to drug abuse. Drew's last season in the NBA saw him register the worst drop-off in his career. He only averaged 16.2 points while shooting a career-low 41.2% from the field overall. According to sources, he was last cited in 2010. There are claims that he now resides in Houston and works as a cab driver. So much for the talented superstar. But wait, you sure know that you would not be banned if you just hit the like button, the subscribe button, and then click on the notification icon. So you're always the first to get new and fantastic basketball content from us right here. Number 4, Chris Washburn. If you thought we were with John Drew, then wait till we tell you what there was with another player that suffered from the same fate as him. He was Chris Washburn. Drafted as the 3rd overall pick by the Golden State Warriors in the 1986 NBA draft, Washburn was one of those highly touted prospects that unfortunately did not go on to make it in the NBA. And Washburn went through it for some time to piece together a solid college career. He averaged 16.4 points and 6.6 rebounds per game in 2 years. However, when Washburn got into the NBA, his numbers showed otherwise. Washburn's NBA career was uneventful, as he only averaged 3.1 points and 2.4 rebounds per game. After 2 seasons, the NBA barred him from setting foot into the league due to substance abuse. Unfortunately, this addiction did not only afflict his career, but his personal life also suffered for it. He was making up to a total of 14 trips to drug rehabilitation centers. At this point, it was not hard to see why he also suffered financially. In a later interview, Washburn emphasizes that the lowest point of his life when he could not even start for his basketball team in prison. Fortunately, Washburn turned his life around, and he now claims that he was giving up drugs for quite some time. And to the icing on the cake, he is seeing his son, Julian Washburn, play professional basketball in the British Basketball League. The younger Washburn also saw action for the Memphis Grizzlies during the 2018-2019 season. Number 3, Matthew Dellavedova. For many games of the 2015-16 season with the Cleveland Cavaliers, point guard Matthew Dellavedova wore a Whoop bracelet on his wrist. The Whoop device allowed Dellavedova to monitor health-related measurements like heart rate or temperature while in game and provided no harm to anyone worldwide. However, officials at the NBA saw the situation a little differently. Irrespective of it, it was for the stated reason. Matthew violated the NBA's ban on wearable technology, or maybe this was to prevent him from using the wristband as a James Bond lookalike, and maybe for espionage purposes. The NBA banned the Cavaliers guard from wearing it for the rest of the season, and we sure found that very weird. We hope Delly stays away from any other drama in the league with his new team, the Milwaukee Bucks. And do you know that LeBron James also once got banned? Stay with us, we have other juicier details coming in this video. Number 2, Caron Butler. The NBA champion and 2-time All-Star Caron Butler was a total badass. He was arrested 15 times before his 15th birthday and learned and developed his basketball prowess while in juvenile detention. But this was unrelated to what the NBA did in 2010 when it came to notice that Butler, as it then with the Dallas Mavericks, was constantly chewing some straws on the sideline. They banned Caron's straw chewing for the sake of his well-being. Butler, a man who was a drug dealer by the age of 11 in the tough streets of Racine, received a permanent ban on chewing straws during games because of his safety. We cannot point to any straw deaths that might have happened in America, but still, it is remarkable that the NBA chose to take a hard stance before an all-out epidemic occurred. Number 1, LeBron James. In the 2013-14 NBA season, LeBron James proved that he was just as human as the rest of us when he suffered a broken nose in a late February victory over Oklahoma City. To protect his fragile nose after treatment, and because his clear mask was not yet ready, he decided to use a black carbon fiber mask to protect his nose in a subsequent victory against the New York Knicks. The NBA, however, did not see reasons with him, and they demanded that James switch back to the approved clear mask before the team's next game. And the team was not ready to accept a world where they could not see LeBron's face at all times, nor was it prepared to have one of the best players in the league looking like a superhero out of a Marvel series. And that would be all on some of the ridiculous bans that have been handed out in NBA history. You will do well to like this video, subscribe to this YouTube channel, and share with the folks with whom you share love for the game.